Hey, welcome to another episode of Spiritual Talks. I am your host, Gerald, and we are about to jump right into it. We are launching episode 44. And we're going to talk about how you can create a brand new life for yourself. And you're going to do that by accessing a different story. You're going to create a new life by accessing a different story. That's how you're going to change your life. So get a pen, get a sheet of paper, and we're going to write down some key tips and some elements that are going to help you change your life forever. All right. One of the biggest things that we don't understand is that the life that we have is based on the story that we're telling, right? Everyone has a story. We all have a story. Everyone has life situations. Life happens to you. Situations happen. The question is, does that story fit for you? Is the story that you're telling yourself, is the story that you're telling everybody, is that serving your purpose? Is that adding value to your life? Is this story that you are walking around with? Is it the story of that of your life? Is this the end of your life? Is this the story that you want to tell? Or, you know what? I really don't like the way my life is going. I really would like to access a new state of being, a new way of being, but I don't know how, right? So in this episode, we're going to talk about how you can look at the stories that you keep telling yourself day in and day out and see, okay, wait, the reason why my life is a certain way is based on the story. It's based on the story. If I can change the story, if I can change how I'm looking at this, if I can change my viewpoint, my vantage, then I can change my life. But I can't access that if I keep telling myself the same story. If I keep saying, I never was smart in school, my dad abused me, my mom was a drunk, whatever the story is, it's not serving you if you want a better life, if you want a different life. The story that you keep telling yourself is the same life that you'll keep living. So if you want a new life, it's time to tell a new story. So let's sit down and write down the first thing to access a new life. I've got to change my story. So number one, change my story. That is the first thing you're going to do to access a new life. How do I create a new life? I got to change my freaking story. What am I telling myself? What am I saying? Right? The second thing you're going to do to access a new life, the second thing, you got to start positioning yourself in the places that you want to be. I was telling someone this the other day. When I was younger and in finance, I would go to these really nice neighborhoods, and I would go and house watch, and I would go and car watch, and I would go and do these things. I wanted to feel what it felt like to live a different life. I wanted to go and see what it felt like to sit in these cars and go in these neighborhoods, and I wanted to make it real. So number two, how do I change my life? I need to go and make it real for you. Go and touch and feel the life that you want to live. Because if you don't, it's not real for you. It's not. It's like telling somebody, hey, one day you're gonna have A, B, and C, but there's no way to access it. There's no way for you to test it out. There's no way for you to try and see if it's a fit for you. What if you don't like Jaguar? What if you don't like Ferrari? What if you don't like Bentley? What if you don't like living in a gated community? How would you know unless you go and find out? You have to go and find out. Go and be curious. If you want to change your life, that second thing I just talked about, you got to go be curious. Go feel, felt, found. Go see what's out there, right? Because if you don't, how can you create? You can't create from something that you don't see, something that's not real for you. So go put yourself around people, places, and things that are reflective of the life that you want to live, right? So first thing. Do you guys remember what the first thing was? The first thing is tell a different story. How do I change my life? I got to tell a different story. The second thing on how to change my life, I've got to position myself. I've got to position myself, reposition myself for what it is that I say I want. I got to get around people, places, and things that are serving that highest good, right? The third thing, the third thing you want to do, you're going to get people around you that are in the same mindset as you, the same mental arena, so to speak. You got to surround yourself with like-minded people. If you're going to change your life, you got to be around people that are changing their lives. it's very difficult for you to be motivated and stay motivated who are not doing anything with their lives. It's basically impossible. Why am I saying that? When you are running this race, this marathon called life, and you're looking on the side of you and you see these people are not really running very fast, and you're wondering, well, how are they going to get to where they're going if they're not running very fast? That's the truth. They're not going to get where they're going. And you have to position yourself around people that are really going somewhere, right? That are really getting going every single day. Why? Because that inspires you. Every day, you're not going to feel like getting up and going after it. But when you have people around you that are surrounded, people are surrounding you that are also doing what you're doing, thinking what you're thinking, and on the same wave path, guess what? Iron sharpens iron, right? A candle loses nothing by lighting another candle, right? And so when you are wanting to change your life, you have to tell a different story, position yourself around really, really magnificent things. And that third thing is position yourself around people, places, and things that are reflective of the life that you say you want to live. It all adds up. It all adds up. You can't get there. You can't get to this new life if you keep telling an old story. And the old story will stay there if you don't show yourself a new life. You can't show yourself a new life if you're hanging out with the old people who do old shit that doesn't, go anywhere. So you see how these, yeah. So you can create a new life, but you got to tell a new story. And I think that a lot of times people don't know how to do that. And if you need help, then you can reach out and say, hey, I need a coach. I need a mentor to see what I can do to be better. There's nothing wrong with asking for help, but it's kind of like really messed up to stay in the same situation. So even though you may not have the strategies, may not have the tools, you may not have the techniques in place, you can ask for help, right? You can listen to this podcast, you can go on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, you can go somewhere, right? And find something that will help add value to what it is that you're doing, So my advice is tell the story. My advice is to go test out, try things that are in line with what you say you want. And that third thing is really put yourself around people that are inspirational. Yeah. People that are gonna push you, that are going to push you to be the best version of yourself. Right? Because in order for you to access it in life, you gotta be the higher version of yourself. Right? The version because your best thinking has kind of gotten you right here. Right? So my advice is to maybe latch on to a new way of thinking, latch on to a new way of believing, latch on to a new set of beliefs that are going to push you and propel you to another space. But you can't do that if you're telling the old story. You can't do that if you're hanging around the same people. You can't do that if you are going around the same situations, the same scenarios. How is that even possible? How are you going to see a light? How are you going to access that? It's not realistic, right? So go back, listen to this over and over and over again, because these are three simple tools. Simple, simple, simple. I think with coaching, with mentorship, with everything that you're doing, if I give you a lot of complex like strategies to do things, you're not gonna do anything, right? But if I give you simple tools, simple techniques, simple strategies to really just get going, you can they're easily digestible, right? So go and share this podcast on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and Amazon. And if you really want to change your life, change your story. Change the people that you're hanging around. Change what it is, how you see things. Reframe it and watch your life shift like it's never shifted. How do I know? I've tried it. I've tried it. Nothing that I share with you guys, nothing that I share in general is I don't share my feelings. No one cares. I share facts with you guys. I want to share facts. I always share facts because feelings aren't important, but the facts are. And the facts are, if you want a new life, you've got to tell a new story. And you can't tell a new story if the framework is the same. Okay? So share this episode, YouTube, Apple, Spotify. I'll see you guys again on Spiritual Talks. Later.